Hi everyone. I had a couple of people ask me to make more videos regarding my upbringing in East Harlem. So I find it very easy to do it when I'm in the car. And by the way, these sunglasses my niece gave me, they were my sister Rose's. And I just cherish them. I know they're outdated, but who cares? Anyway, I want to talk to you today about the festivals, or the Italian festivals in East Harlem. There were two big ones. One was Our Lady of Mount Carmel, which was the church on 115th Street between 1st and 2nd. And the other one was Giglio, where the men would wear their white t-shirts and white hats with the kerchiefs and raise the stand that carried a full band and like a 4-story statue of the saint, and danced around with it. Can't imagine how hard that must have been. Anyway, the Feast of Mount Carmel, I loved it. You would, at the beginning, I don't know, in the 30s and 40s, before even when I was born, the feast would be from like 106th Street, or maybe even further down, I don't know, on 1st Avenue, all the way up to 121st Street and 1st Avenue, and around the back to Pleasant Avenue from 121st Street to 114th Street on the corner of where Rayo's was, across from Jefferson Park, and where Harry the Greek used to sell his dirty water hot dogs that was skinny and delicious. They had the best onions and the best mustard. I don't know, whatever, maybe it was mind over matter. We used to love going to the feast. The vendors all along from 116th Street all the way up to 121st, the vendors used to put their wares out on the street on a stand. My father and mother had a butcher, as I told you, and my grandfather had the fish market. My grandfather used to sell clams on the half shell, and my mother and father used to sell sausage and pepper sandwiches. I remember my sisters, we used to, the feast was on in the afternoon, but at night that's when all the festivities began. So after supper, all the stands would come out. And I remember when my sister's telling me, my sister Rose in particular, she said that when I was a baby, because my sisters took care of me, that they couldn't go out and enjoy the festivities until I was put to bed. So they had this big navy blue, I remember, coach carriage, and her friends, Steve Giglio, Tiny Tim, Menzaman, whoever, and my Uncle Sal, they carried, I fell asleep and they carried the carriage from all the way 116th Street to where I lived, 113 1st Avenue, and put me to bed. Well, they carried it so I wouldn't wake up. They put me to bed, and then they were off to enjoy the feast. I remember that, not that in particular, but I remember when after supper, when I was 11, 12, 13, 14, we would get all dressed up after dinner and go out and hang out with our friends. And the guys, we used to see the guys and have a ball. And go up 115th Street where they had the bandstand, and there was the Italian band and all the Italian singers. Even Jimmy Rosselli sang during the feasts, all the Italian songs. And the old Italian ladies, during the day, during Mount Carmel, they had the procession, and the old ladies with their house dresses and the stockings rolled down around their ankles, and the ladies that were in mourning with all black and the black stockings rolled down around their ankles would march barefoot in the procession, a dedication to the lady. And we'd watch them marching down the street. It was unbelievable, let me tell you. And the buses would line up between 114th and 111th Street by the Jefferson Park in front on the east side of the street. The buses would line up. The buses came in from New England, Connecticut, Massachusetts. They even came in from New Jersey. I mean, there would be thousands of people coming to Mount Carmel. And by the way, I made a mistake. Mount Carmel Church was not between 1st and 2nd. It was 115th Street between 1st and Pleasant. And the block between 115 between 1st and Pleasant was the hub. It was where everything was happening. That's where the bandstand was. That's where all the Italian singers were, and where everybody was dancing in the streets. I mean, it was a great time. I remember that so vividly. And once I remember when I was like 16, I think, 16 or 17, my sister Ann was pregnant to her third daughter, and she asked my mother to babysit. Of course, my mother never babysat. I babysat. Anyway, so I took them. It was during the feast. That's when my niece was born. My niece Donna. She was the third one. And I took Tony, Ann, and Gina to the feast. Because on Pleasant Avenue, there was all kinds of rides. There were merry-go-rounds and Ferris wheels and whatever. It was just a wonderful time. I just, when I reminisce, I get really, really melancholy. Well, until my next video on East Harlem, I'm Marie. Marie, if you're watching this is Marie. Marie Giardulo Squitieri now. I know you remember it. Until next time, I'll talk a little bit more about other things that happened in East Harlem. Okay, bye-bye.